start the stream to see if it worked. Cut this off. So we're doing something different, right, Damon? This time we're gonna be reacting, but it's gonna be a live stream. See how it turn out. But then I think I could just post it.
Without editing?
Yeah, knock it all out real quick. So let's just get to it.
I'm going to keep it 100% with you guys. In my line of work, there are some storylines that I tend to anticipate a little bit more consistently than other storylines. For example, in the past 3 months, I think I made something like 200 videos on how melodramatic the Ben Simmons situation has been.
200.
I would make content with a specific expectation for each and every player, and some storylines get a little repetitive. For example, since the beginning of my career, Kyrie Irving has always taken pride in just saying stuff to just drive the media crazy, whether it's the world is flat, all the way to him stomping on the Boston Celtics.
I wonder who the media hates more between him and Russ. Cause Kyrie be saying some crazy stuff, but Russ be blowing people off. he be taking the media crazy. Like that one time he was like with Steven Adams. He told Steven Adams not to answer. And they just went in on the reporter. But Kyrie be saying stuff like the earth is flat. But on the flip side, Kyrie don't even show up to games. At least Russ show.
Man, block my stuff so hard.
Go during the end of the playoffs. And in the case of Zion Williamson, this is a consistent theme that is kind of disappointing, I must admit. And I was going to ignore this before, but this is really terrifying. So before we get to the content, just a reminder, I'm going to be giving away multiple copies of NBA 2K21 within the next 2 weeks on my community tab. All you have to do to enter is subscribe and turn on our notifications for this channel. We also do a lot more giveaways on Instagram and Twitter if you want to follow us over there. And if you could take a moment and leave a like on this content, I'd greatly appreciate it. Now that we got all
that man got so much bounce, man. Man, Shaq with a cheat code.
Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? We literally had an entire podcast episode on this, and this was something I really was going to ignore because I was thinking, how bad did Zion really look? And at first glance, when I was looking at his first press conference during New Orleans Pelicans Media Day, I was like, okay, Zion looks just about normal, just how I expect him to look, but maybe he put on a few pounds. Not so much that I should blow this out of proportion, not so much that we need to make its own video on it.
That man was 280 in college,
later,
like
I was
rip.
just scrolling through Twitter, and someone tweeted me a picture of how Zion looked like during his days at Duke University. When you compare how he looked during his time at Duke to his rookie season, to the end of last year, to how he looks right now, then there is cause for concern. And here's the thing, all of the things that we were saying the moment he was getting drafted, all of the concerns we had the moment that he got drafted about, hey, he's playing a little bit too heavy.
He was 6'6", 284.
Man could really hamper his career. All of the
Taco's 3'11"
so far,
at
starting
7'5".
all the way during that very famous game
That's
when
crazy.
Duke University took on the North Carolina Tar Heels in 2019, when he famously blew out his shoe with the sheer force of his weight. And back then, he actually thought this was the shoe's fault. I remember Nike was dealing with this press nightmare for quite some time. But at the time, there was no one thinking, hey, maybe
they lost $3 billion
when he too heavy for his weight.
Imagine how much, how big you gotta be to, so you took, Zion tore his shoe, right? And as soon as he tore his shoe, Nike went down $3 billion. $3 billion, not million, $3 billion because he tore his shoe. That's crazy.
Maybe this is something that could potentially hamper his career. He
That's
kind
crazy.
of ignored it for the most part until he sustained a pretty crazy knee injury in the Summer League in 2019, which at that point it was a fairly big deal because think about it, we didn't get to see the #1 overall pick, which
That
by the
make
way,
a
was
fly,
being hyped
man.
up to the level of LeBron James probably. I don't think I've seen a player hyped up as much as LeBron James since probably Lonzo Ball, and then maybe after Lonzo Ball, we got Zion Williamson.
Clearly,
they were
Zion.
hyping this kid up as the next transcendent player. So Zion would have some mysterious knee injury, and the Pelicans said that we were going
His
to
competition in high school was
caution
really
here,
not
and we're gonna
fair.
shut him
I bet you
down
them
for the
parents
rest
was
of
mad.
Summer League, because apparently Summer League isn't important to them, which makes sense. But moving on, Zion would tear his meniscus in the 2019 preseason. So the unfortunate part about this injury is now, instead of seeing a bunch of highlights from Zion Williamson in Summer League, all we got was pictures of Zion Williamson looking hefty and a little overweight during Summer League. And I think this is when the storyline and the narrative of Zion is overweight began. Of course, I'm sure these issues were going to subside a little bit once the preseason started. After all, Luka Doncic was always kind of roasted for his weight. He wasn't necessarily in the greatest playing shape. He always looked really, really exhausted at the end of the game.
He's in good shape now, though, since he played Olympics and
when
stuff.
Zion tore his meniscus during the 2019 preseason, which, by the way, is also in his knee, he would miss the first 44 games of the season, and during this time there was significant drama about whether or not it was time
That's
for
a
Zion
big
Williamson
dude,
to
man.
come back, or whether they should hold off on him. Maybe they should wait until
I heard his knee
some
twice.
weight, because playing at the weight that Zion Williamson does, at the intensity and rigors of an NBA game, was just simply not sustainable. At some point or another, this man was
Desmond, that's Desmond, man.
to have a significant injury that could completely alter the course of his career. And as much as I hope I'm wrong, that's probably what everyone's concern was. If you look at a player like DeMarcus Cousins, for example, the man tore his Achilles tendon mainly because of the weight distribution on the height that
and then he tore his ACL.
And by the time he did lose the weight that he needed to, it was a little bit too late. And even then, he tore his ACL because it was a little bit too late.
There was a video of it? I didn't know that.
He was a little hefty during his Miami Heat years, and when he went back to Cleveland in 2014, he lost a significant amount of weight. And then even more recently,
I'm not reacting to
last year
that,
with the
man.
Lakers, he lost a lot of weight as well. We made a video on that as well, mainly because this is not a situation where you could be playing at a very hefty weight if you want to move around on the basketball court the way you do without sustaining a crazy injury. Now, last year in August, Zion Williamson would also have right knee soreness, and that brings us more or less all the way up to today, where apparently, and this is where it gets
Oh,
a
they
little
said his knee
creepy
sore?
to me. The reason why Zion Williamson looks the way he does in this interview isn't because David Griffin decided to play the piano for him, because apparently, according to Zion, that is a rumor.
How I feel about the organization? Heard me. I love it here. I love the city of New Orleans. Don't want to be anywhere else. My relationship with Griff, I don't think he can play the piano. Last time I checked. But yeah, it's all love with me and Griff. It ain't much to dive into. It's just love between us. We're both.
Does he look bigger to you right here? I mean, you can't tell like his body, but just his face. What do you think? You said what? Does Zion's face look bigger to you, or are you look about the same?
Versus now?
This is
He
now.
look fat.
This is now.
Oh, yeah, he looks fat.
What do you think, Chris? I'll wait till you green this. His face, it look fatter than it usually is.
Looks like the same to me.
The same.
Hers, we both want to win. Do we disagree?
Look up under that neck.
When he turned his head.
Things. Yeah. Who agrees on everything? We don't.
Oh my
But
god.
It's too big.
I think that's what makes our relationship great. We both bring the best out of each other, and we're gonna keep building on that.
But apparently, Zion Williamson
He broke his
had
foot.
surgery on a fractured right foot, and he's expected back in time for the regular season. Okay, yeah, that happened out of nowhere. Get a look at this. Apparently, this is something the New Orleans Pelicans announced at their media day last week, where David Griffin informed the media that all-star forward Zion
That man
Williamson
been getting hurt a lot,
underwent
man.
surgery
Yeah,
to
he gonna have to
repair a
lose some
fractured
weight.
foot earlier in the offseason and is hoping to return in time for the start of the regular season. Saying that Zion is returning from a foot surgery suffered at the beginning of summer, which at that point you're kind of like, wait, what? But get this, while the beginning of summer isn't exactly accurate, but earlier in the offseason, prior to summer league. So it seems like they're not even being straightforward about how he's sustained.
They're trying to
his
cover it
injury.
up.
He had a fractured right foot that was repaired surgically. His timeline should get him onto the court in time.
Man hurt
for the
his
regular
foot and
season.
knee
That
2 or
would be
3
our hope and
times.
our view. We're very optimistic about what that looks like. Unfortunately, I know that's going to be taken as a very big negative for all of you. It's really not for us because we were dealing with it all off season. We feel very confident about where things are. So Zion Williamson had this mystery injury that is a pretty significant injury, might I add. And that is apparently the reason why he has this crazy weight gain. And oh my god, the fact that the Pelicans had to hide this from us is already a cause for concern. I mean, this is a guy that is supposed to be the next big, transcendent, super athletic megastar in the NBA. Part of the reason why so many teams were excited to potentially draft him with the #1 overall pick is how marketable the guy is. And here you are having him look, one, extremely overweight, and two, the injury that he sustained is as a result of how overweight he might be. I mean, the thing that bothers me is you keep on getting
He
these
keeps hurting
hints
his
that, hey,
legs.
this man needs to drop a couple of pounds, or maybe change his diet, or do something, because he blew through his shoe in 2019. A few months later, he would also sustain a knee
Hurt
injury.
his knee.
And hey, a couple months later, at the start of his rookie year,
He hurt
the
his
man
knee.
would sustain a torn meniscus, another knee injury.
Uh-oh.
Now he has a broken foot. I mean, how many hints do you need at this point that, hey, this guy needs to drop a significant
That man got hurt
amount
like
of
4 or
weight?
5
I'm not
times
saying that, hey,
in like a
Zion
2-year
Williamson's
span.
extremely fat. No, I'm saying that even in terms of muscle and fat distribution, relative to a 6'7" player's body, relative to what he does on a day-to-day basis,
We're gonna have to
which is
shred.
play basketball, which is
That man
very
Dante built like
dependent on
Zion
his ability to make quick turns and cuts,
That
which
man
is something
Dante.
that Zion Williamson's really good at doing. He needs to drop weight before he sustains a torn ACL, before he gets a torn Achilles tendon, before we lose quite possibly one of the most transcendent talents in NBA.
We don't want
history.
another Derrick
Something
Rose
needs to be
situation.
done here. I mean, again, look at his time in Duke, which, by the way, even his Duke physique, even when he looked
This is the best shape to me he's been in.
Yeah.
And he was 284. That's crazy.
That man did like 260.
Yeah, 260 would be perfect. He'd be flying up and down the court.
like this, he blew out his knee. And then look at how he looks in Pelicans media day. And tell me this is not
Yeah,
a
but
cop.
that's like his high school
Let me
weight.
know in the comment section down below what you guys think about this, man. Maybe I'm blowing it out of proportion. I mean, who knows? I'm known to be fairly melodramatic myself. But aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until the next up.
Until the next video. Look, Zion is too big for his own good. The human skeleton can only take so much of muscle and weight before it starts to break down. That's facts. That man's huge. Like, let me see. It's crazy. I'm not used to this. What's it called? Facts. But yeah, man, that man Zion is way too like his best weight was 280. Like that was his peak weight when he was flying up and down the court. So yeah, he gonna have to cut to 260. But if you like the cause there's only one person I see who was watching the live stream So it's gonna. Ooh. Hey, look at this.
I can't see.
Oh, here you go. He does this, man.
Oh, my badges and snatched them.
But if I should do more live stream, because this is just gonna be a regular video, so if I should do more, either put in the comments, likes, or something.
Somebody on there?